Welcome everyone to the 2016 Kobalt 400 at Las Vegas race review, where I recap what went on before the race, during the race, and after the race, looking ahead to the next race. And overall thoughts on the race. I'm going to call this one a weird and a good race. And the reason why I say weird is mostly because of the strange weather activity we had, not only before the race, but during the race. And I'll get to that later on in this review. Good race, because especially late in the race, when things started getting intense, we saw some good racing for the lead, which is always important. But compared to Atlanta, we saw something that I think we actually really have not seen in a NASCAR race in quite some time, and that is like a 4-car battle, or just simply 4 cars late in the race, all within a second from each other. We haven't. I can't really remember the last time that happened. I can cite a couple examples, but I can't remember the last time it did. We saw something like that in a NASCAR race. It certainly has been a while. And non-plate tracks, and this is for non-plate tracks, for the most part. I also enjoyed this race because it just had a little bit of everything. We had different drivers take the lead of the race, so it wasn't clear who exactly had the best car, which I think makes a race even better. We also had a good mix of young rookie drivers against veterans. Like, for example, we saw Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, and Austin Dillon all challenging great champions like Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth. And yeah, I think judging the first 3 races of the season from best to worst, I would put Atlanta, Las Vegas, and Daytona. Las Vegas itself as a track, in my opinion, is still not that very good of a track, in my opinion. And with this race, we have now run more races on Las Vegas on the current configuration compared to the old one. So the old configuration lasted from 1998 to 2006, and I've seen races on the old configuration, and obviously I've watched many races live on the new configuration, and Las Vegas is just simply not anywhere near a great track in my opinion. Hopefully, as time goes on and the surface gets more abrasive, it will help. But I think definitely the low downforce package made this Las Vegas race the best in a while, maybe even best ever. But now let's get into the pre-race, well before the race, and let's highlight the highs and lows. So, entering this weekend, a couple of big news stories caught my attention, and the first one was Cole Pern, the crew chief for Martin Truex Jr., was suspended for one race, and it was supposed to be this weekend, but the team decided to appeal, saying that the roof flap issue, or whatever it exactly was not to gain the team advantage, but for a safety precaution or something like that. So that appeal will be heard on this upcoming Tuesday. So because of that, Cole Pern got to remain at the top of the box. And even though you don't see it on the screen, many other teams got hit with smaller penalties. AJ Allmendinger, Austin Dillon, Paul Menard, Ryan Newman, Michael McDowell. Notice how these are all RCR or RCR affiliate teams. I think a few more also got some minor penalties, but those are the ones that caught my eye. And then we had extra practice, or just simply test sessions on Thursday, 2 of them. And it was to learn more about the low downforce package, and I actually skipped something on my screen. And that is really because Las Vegas, in my opinion, is a much better track to see how the rest of the races under the 2016 rules package or low downforce package will be, because Las Vegas, it's not as abrasive as Atlanta, but its surface is not new, so it's kind of in between. Excuse me. That's why I think Las Vegas is a much better track to see how the low downforce package will be. And then uh, and then I guess the final note is heavy winds could affect the handling during the race big time because because on Saturday winds were heavy in the Xfinity race, but but, but were much worse in today's race. And I guess also, in case you want to know, Johnson was the fastest in the first test. Almirola was the fastest in the second test. Brad and Joey made a Penske were 1-2 in the first practice session. Let me actually restate that. Johnson and Almirola were the fastest in the 2 test sessions on Thursday. Then in the first practice on Friday, Brad and Joey were 1-2. Then in qualifying, Kurt Busch got the pole, setting a new track record, going over 196 miles per hour. Carl Edwards went to the back of the car after hitting the wall coming off to number 2. Then in Saturday, Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth were the fastest in the 2 practice sessions on Saturday. So that's pretty much everything that caught my eye before Sunday. I honestly don't have a lot to complain about, but I do gotta say, the first 200 laps, or maybe in other words, everything up until about the Kyle Larson and AJ Allmendinger situation where those two got together, Larson backed it into the wall coming off to number 2. Really, everything before that though was just kind of blah, in my opinion. And to me, I think it was, and I think it was mostly, in my opinion, the product of just simply Las Vegas. Its surface is not as abrasive as Atlanta, so tires don't mean anything. And even Carl Edwards, who's been the biggest advocate for the low downforce package and enjoys the package, like said in the post race media center, it felt like there wasn't any new rules package, to be honest. So that's a very interesting perspective from a driver who has been very vocal about rules packages in recent years. And there was definitely a few passes for the leader, but for the most part, it was just pretty uneventful. I think the biggest scare out of those 200 laps was when Johnson was actually trying to lap Greg Biffle, and kind of he almost go away the pass, kind of squeezed Biffle up just a little bit. Biffle actually made slight contact with the outside wall, and then Biffle side drafted off Jimmy Johnson, and then Legal made this ballsy move by Johnson for the lead. That was kind of the biggest scare during that event. And the other thing, and this is actually kind of more of a topic that I would like to address instead of actually it being a low point. I kind of think we needed to put an end, or severely limit the competition cautions we use every single race. I would rather see the teams kind of police themselves. The teams kind of police themselves. If we have heavy rain before the race or the night before the race, instead of just implementing a caution just so everyone can check. Let the teams actually do that instead of making the teams actually do it. In my opinion, there were 3 high points that I picked up on, and the first one, I might as well get this out of the way, was the crazy weather. So I talked about the wind, and I actually thought the heavy winds, which some of them were gusting over 50 miles per hour, I believe. I thought it was actually going to make the cars more out of control, especially since the low downforce package makes the cars hard to drive. But yeah, we didn't really see that. But overall, the weather was just simply crazy because other than the wind, we had a heavy rain just before the race started that actually delayed the race about. It delayed the start about 25 minutes. And actually, part of me thought, and when I first saw the race, I thought the race could actually go into the night. But the heavy rain only lasted for a few minutes. And then at around lap 200, even more crazy weather occurred. A sandstorm, or as some call it, haboob, um, started forming past turns 1 and 2, and then covered the entire racetrack. And I gotta say, props to all the fans that had to endure this crazy weather. It was definitely unexpected, and then it was cool to even see. Sorry. And then it was cool to see for like a few laps actually cars actually racing in this like dust, which I have never seen that before. And there were a lot of fans that I saw on social media saying like, I've watched NASCAR for over 20 years or something like that, and I've never seen weather this crazy. And even the announcers in the Fox before were shocked by it. So it really was a crazy day weather-wise. And I think that's going to make this race even more memorable. And I talked about it in the overall section, but I think I really enjoyed the good ending. I honestly thought like Halbush had it in the bag, and then his car started going away. I think he reported a vibration, and I just opened the door for Brett Keselowski, who spent many laps fighting his teammate. Once he got past Logano, it was much more. It was so easy from there on. He got Mikhailovich quickly, and he went on to win the race. Jimmy Johnson was also in there. So really, it was this 4-car battle sort of for the win, and we haven't seen that in a long time. So I really enjoyed the ending. I think it was actually out of the first 3 points races this season in the Sprint Cup Series, this race actually had the best ending. Because even though the Daytona 500 ended in a pole finish, that like last lap drama and excitement only lasted for 1 lap. In the Atlanta race, it ended under caution. So, not to mention Johnson had a several second lead before the overtime. Whereas this race had like a 3 to 4 car battle for the win that went on for the final like 20 laps or so. So I think this race actually had the best ending so far this season. And also 2 young drivers, and one of them is battling for Rookie of the Year. Got really good finishes for them. Austin Dillon finished 5th. He started 5th. It was up front in the early portions of the race, then slipped back, and then after a last-minute call from his crew chief Slinger Labby to go from 2 tires to 4 tires, he found himself around 20th, and Austin Dillon. It made Austin Dillon very upset, understandably so. But the team did not give up, and then decided to stay out, which gave him that necessary track position. And I thought he was actually, and at the time I thought it was not going to work for him, and he would start sliding back and would finish outside the top 10. But he did a nice job at staying in there and got, I believe, his 3rd top 5 finish. And so now he's finished inside the top 5 once every single full-time Sprint Cup Series season he's been in. And who knows? This could be a breakout year for Austin Dillon, maybe. And then Ryan Blaney, who, if you watched last season, this finish is not a surprise, but it is definitely worth mentioning. He did a good job at holding his ground inside the top 5, the top 10 throughout the majority of the race, and thankfully got a good finish. Because there were a couple times where he had there were a couple times last year where he had good runs and yet had like engine failures. So thankfully that did not happen. And even though he got involved in a hilarious pile, Chase Elliott was also once again having another good run and could have finished inside the top 5 had the wreck not happened. They just got stuck in the back due to taking 4 tires late in the race, and it ended up putting him in a position to get that got involved in that wreck, and thus got him the poor finish. But he was also having a good day. But now let's move on to some uh, to some like quick in case you missed it kind of notes. Here are some notes that you might have missed. So, have you noticed that so far in the first 3 races of the season, we've had 3 different teams for the most part dominate them? The Daytona 500 was dominated by Joe Gibbs Racing for the most part. Atlanta, for the most part, was dominated by Hendrick, and Penske dominated a lot of Las Vegas. So do you think this pattern will continue? I doubt it. If there's any team that could be a force to reckon with for Phoenix, the best answer I have is Stuart Haas Racing with Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick. But other than that, I think we're likely. I think we're likely going to be in for another Hendrick, Gibbs, and Penske season, a lot like last season, though, based on what I've seen in the first 3 races of the season. And even though you don't see it on the screen, we've also had all 3 manufacturers win races this season. Toyota in the Daytona 500, Chevy at Atlanta, and Ford at Las Vegas as well. So, in other notes, Kyle Busch currently leads the point standings, but of course it's going to be very meaningless by the time Richmond in the fall is over because of the chase format. And it's reminding me a lot of his 2008 season where he was so good in the regular season, but pretty much dominated the point standings, only to fall apart when the chase started. And the defending Sprint Cup Series champion is not showing any signs of slowing down. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is currently the top round crash driver. I think both on the racetrack and in the point standings. He almost got another top 10. He finished 12th. And it's kind of interesting to see him being the top crash driver when I would have thought it would have gone to Greg Biffle, because I thought Greg Biffle would have been a driver to adjust well to this low downforce package. But so far it's Stenhouse who's kind of having a little bit of a breakout season. It's not like a big breakout, but it's a little bit of a breakout. And who knows, maybe he'll be able to continue this streak and finally have a good season, which he really has not been able to really have a good season since he has come to the Cup Series. But maybe this is his year. Also, Clint Bowyer got his best finish of the season with a 22nd place finish. I just think he's sadly going to be in for a rough season. I'm sure that him and H. Scott Motorsports will build chemistry as the season goes on. But so far it looks like he's just going to be in for a rough season. The biggest disappointment, in my opinion, was Brian Vickers. In the testing sessions, either in one of them or both of them, he had like top 5, top 10 speed. And then in the first practice session, he also set some good times. And then qualifying, he would have been in the final round had he not gotten screwed by NASCAR, because apparently when Carl Edwards hit the wall in the second round, they let Kane complete his lap, but not Brian Vickers for some reason, and Tony Stewart ended up arguing with the officials. Had that not happened, Brian Vickers was started into the top 12, but I thought his middle of the pack qualifying would have hurt him that much, but then he was just off, because I honestly expected Brian Vickers to actually compete for like a top 5, top 10 finish. So for him to finish 36, 10 laps down, and we never got an explanation why he finished that far down and why he was 10 laps down, it was definitely, in my opinion, a big disappointment. And I know that they're likely not going to stay in this position, but I think it is worth mentioning that after 3 races, Regan Smith and Tommy Baldwin Racing are 19 in points. So those are my notes. And now let's get on to the closing stages. Looking ahead to Phoenix, I guess first of all, like a good question to start out is like, is the low downforce package going to be a significant improvement on Phoenix? And my answer to that is I honestly don't know. The thing about Phoenix that is important to remember is that Phoenix got repaved and reconfigured in the fall of in the summer of 2011, and the first race under the new configuration was November of 2011. Since then, the service is still pretty new, and I think we do actually have like 2 grooves, but for the most part, I think it's still a 1 groove racetrack. I mean, the second groove is not, it just isn't that effective. And I guess it's also hard for me to remember Phoenix races in the past, mainly because they've all been dominated by Kevin Harvick. Phoenix races usually don't have the most action. They're not like the most action-packed races you'll see all season long anyway. So I honestly don't really know. And I'll actually be attending the Phoenix race this weekend. So next week when I do my race review, it's definitely not going to be an as detailed video because I'll be at the racetrack and not taking notes. And I guess as far as who I think is going to be strong, well, I think Harvick will be strong like he's been the past few years. But if I have to go with someone who's not Harvick, then there are 3 drivers that I think are going to be are going to be his biggest challengers. The first one is Joey Logano. In the past 4 Phoenix races, he has the second best average finish behind Kevin Harvick, with a 5.25. And then so Logano has been good at Phoenix recently. And then my second driver that I think can challenge Harvick is Jimmy Johnson. He actually has the career best average finish there at 7.72, but really has not. But really under the newer configuration hasn't done well. But last year in November he led quite a bit of laps. And ran up front throughout the majority of the race. So I think Johnson will be good. Third driver that I think can also do good is Kurt Busch. In both races last year, he ran well, and had he not gotten penalized last year in November for, I guess, jumping the start or something like that, I think he could have been a big factor, and maybe Harvick's greatest challenger in that race last November. So those are the 3 drivers that I'll be keeping my eye out. And I guess as far as average finish for Busch, he actually has the 6th best average finish, 13.65. And so those are my 3. And so those are my 3 picks, and I guess we'll see what Phoenix can provide us. And just like I've done in the past with Phoenix trips, I'm definitely going to upload a documentary sharing my experience, hopefully sometime next week. But I would just like to thank you for watching this race review. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and bye.